Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is KJ here, and I'm back with another draft analysis. Joined another draft league. I think the last one I did for this was YCL. I think I should have done a UGL one, but I didn't. When the UGL season ends for me, I will make sure that I do at least a recap so you guys can see what happened. I did make transactions and all that good stuff, but anyway, that's beside the point. This is about the PDBL, or actually I think it might be PDBA, so my apologies on that one. But yeah, the Pixel Dreams Battle Academy. But Eli and I, mostly Eli, has been calling it the Watermelon League because the head admin / owner's name is Watermelon on Discord, or Tipsy Watermelon or something like that. So anyway, that is beside the point. We are going to get into this absolutely insane league. And yeah, I mean, it's a 12-mon draft. It had some pretty interesting tiers. And it's a 20-person draft as well. So there are two divisions. There's a Master League and a Premier League. We got put in Master League just because of our experience and everything. Don't actually know how anybody in this league plays. Don't know how we match up skill-wise, any of that. But yeah, so we got put there, and I made sure that I recruited a couple people. So I recruited Eli, I recruited Sally Mumble from YCL / now in UGL. Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be fun. I've looked. They do. This is their 21st season. They've done an absolute ton of seasons. Obviously, they keep record of everything, and it's funny because I'll refer to him as Watermelon, but Watermelon, and then one other person that Eli has like a weird beef with, whose current Discord is like New Year's Lily or something like that. So he's been calling that person Lily. Those two have like done so well in this league. It seems like they're always in the finals, whatever. So I'm hoping that I can jump in and do well and hopefully contest and challenge them for that one of those spots. But anyway, gonna jump into the team. I had the second pick. And actually, want to rewind really quick. Every round, you have a different draft pick. So I don't remember at what pick I got all of these different mons. I didn't feel like going back. I was a little too lazy to do that. However, I do know that I had the second overall pick in the first round. And this is Galardex. So yeah. Let's jump in. So I wanted to get him on. I picked two that I hadn't used before or hadn't used much in draft. Tapu Lele was on the board. Dragapult was on the board, surprisingly. Melmetal went first. Tapu Koko was on the board, but you guys know I've used Tapu Koko. Obviously, I love Victini, but I didn't think that was justified as a number 2 overall pick. Zygarde 50 was there, and that's something I haven't used and I really want to use, but I decided I don't want Zy 50. So you're probably thinking, like, what did you take? So, without further ado, I went with Garchomp. Garchomp now getting access to Scale Shot is pretty ridiculous. Oh man, it is an absolute animal. Not to mention just like, it's just so good. It's a great offensive rocker. Its typing is really good. It has a great speed stat, being able to outspeed base 100s. It's an incredible Scarfer. It can be different defensively. Like, it just has so much. Now, I can't use Sandveil, so that's something that we'll keep in mind. So I am using Rough Skin only. That's not a problem. Rough Skin is a very, very good ability. Being able to get random chip on things is really nice. And yeah, so I mean, I was really happy the way that this started, because like getting Garchomp, I think it's a mon that is very, very good in draft. I think it's top 5 draft mon, and I'm excited to use it. I really am. Garchomp is great. I've seen people do great things with it, so very excited. So I think I was middle of the pack the next round, which was a little weird. Like drafting here, I this is the one really big problem with the draft, in my opinion, was that we all picked in random spots, and so it just made it really difficult sometimes to sort of plan out who could potentially take something or like whatnot. Funny enough, I didn't really get sniped all that much. I did get a lot of the stuff most of the stuff that I wanted, and I think I sniped a couple of people. But yeah, this draft, my mentality was take things that I thought were under tiered and were good value and stuff that I just hadn't used before. So that was what I did. Now I think I had picked 10. Yeah, I'm looking at the thing now. I had picked 10 in the second round. And you're going to see them on that I drafted, and you're going to think, wow, you went 2 tier 1s really early. But that's not the case. And so I got a Azumarill. Obviously, for anybody that's heard me rant about MPAA, Tago went off with this thing. It's an absolute demon. I've seen Primal win a ISL season with this thing. It was incredible for Shaded, and it was the kill leader in UGL season 1. So yeah, I mean, this thing is crazy. Now, I'm gonna tell you what tier I got Azumarill in. This Azumarill is tier 3. So you're thinking, what, tier 3 Azumarill? Same. When I saw the list, I was like, yo, should I first pick this? But I waited. I wanted to take the round 1 value. I did get the tier 3 Azumarill. And so the way that this league does its tiering is it has, like, they've been going for 20 seasons. This is the 21st season. So things that didn't get drafted in certain places or things that underperformed or stuff like that move around on the tier list, which I think is good and bad. Having tier list performance based is kind of tough because, like, if you have a player that's not very good with something, you end up in a situation where it looks a lot worse than it was. And if that happens for a few seasons, then it's like, oh, this mon needs to be lowered in tiering. On the flip side of that as well, like, if you have a bunch of players that play, let's say, bulky offense, then there are going to be some HO mons that almost never get drafted. So I'm really interested to see sort of how this season plays out, but Azumarill's here. It is one of my tier 3s, and I forgot to go over the format, so let me do that really quick. So the draft team format. So it's a tier 1, a tier 2, 3 tier 3s, 2 tier 4s, a tier 5, and then we have 4 free slots, and we have 200 points for free slots, where tier 1 is 100 points, 2 is 90, 3 is 50, 4 is 30, 5 is 10 points. And then there's also a locking system, so you can, this draft was actually 13 rounds. I didn't include the locked mon, but I'll mention it when I draft it. And the way that works is at the start of playoffs, you can decide if you want to swap one of your mons out for your locked mon. So that is something to keep in mind. And I'll get to what my locked mon was, but yeah, like I said, definitely something to keep in mind. So yeah, Azumarill round 2, pick 10. I was really excited about it. And then I get to round 3. And I scooped up Moltres. Now you're probably thinking, KJ, where was this Moltres tiered? Like, this is a tier 2. Nah, this ain't a tier 2 Moltres. It ain't a tier 3 Moltres. It's a tier 4 Moltres. So yeah, tier 4 Moltres that I got in the middle of the 3rd round, pick 12. Man, I don't know about this one. This is just absolutely insane. Moltres is such a good mon. And the fact that it was in tier 4 is just absolutely insane. I was worried because there were some people that were saying they were going to draft Stall, and I thought Moltres would have fit on those teams really well. Originally, this pick was going to be Scizor, I believe. And that's actually the only mon that I think got sniped from me throughout the whole draft was Scizor. Like, I was going to take Scizor here and then take Moltres the pick after. But Moltres was here, Scizor wasn't, so I took Moltres. Not mad. The value is absolutely insane. And yeah, I mean, everybody knows what Moltres does. It has Flame Body. It can like pressure stall. It has incredible special attack stat. It can also be run physically offensive, but it's not as consistent, I would say, as the special offensive sets. And it now gets access to Scorching Sands. Obviously, it has Defog. It's just a really good mon. And like, someone was saying, oh, well, I wouldn't draft Moltres because I don't have access to the older games to bring moves up. Well, I do have access to older games to bring moves up. And the ones that I don't necessarily have access to, I have good friends that do have access and help out. So shout out Shaded for that. He's helping out with the retrieval of some Moltres and some Celebis, so that'll be good. Oh, well, I definitely just spoiled a mon in the future. Let's move on so we can get there faster. So the next mon we scooped up was Rotom Wash. For those of you that know, I've used almost every Rotom form in draft. Rotom Wash being the only one I really haven't used, other than Rotom Frost, and I refuse to draft that. But Rotom Wash is great. It's incredible bulky water. It is incredible electric type. It can be offensive. It can be a Scarfer. It has a ton of utility. I'm really excited to use Rotom Wash. Tier 3 Rotom Wash, mind you. And this was, I think I had, again, like a middle pick. I think pick 12 or 13. Yeah, and now this is another great utility mon, a defogger, all that good stuff. And yeah, I think it pairs really well with Azumarill, because even though they're both water types, they're not weak to the same things, with Azumarill having potential sap super immunity to grass. So like, not weak to the same things, and they do very different things and put on pressure in very different ways. So very excited about that. And I mean, I think Rotom Wash in tier 3 was just incredible value. Like, Rotom Wash is often looked at as one of the top 3 to 5 tier 2s. So the fact that it was in tier 3, had to jump on it. So yeah, we'll move forward. The next mon I think I mentioned was Celebi. So yeah, Celebi, surprise, surprise. Another mon I've wanted to draft a ton. Wrong thing. Sorry about that. It's another mon I've wanted to draft, and I think I've definitely not been able to draft it, / when I did draft it, it didn't fit as well, so I got rid of it. That was in ISL Season 5 a couple weeks ago. And yeah, I mean, Celebi is just great. It gives you a natural Curamon that like can switch into Scalds because it resists water. It has rocks. It has its form of recovery. It is 100 across the board, so it can hit pretty hard on either side. Being a base 100 speed, it is very good Scarfer as well. Like, I feel like people overlook that. More importantly, it's a super bulky grass type. And it's also a bulky psychic type that can switch in on a lot of the fighting type moves and stuff like that. So very, very excited. I also have a lot of good U-turn switch-ins. I really like the synergy between Celebi, Moltres, and Azumarill specifically, because the others, both Azumarill and Moltres, resist bug. Obviously, Celebi has a 4x weakness to bug. Also, clicking U-turn, if I do get Moltres in position, then like there's a potential flame body burn there. So I think that Celebi does well with mons that are going to be able to like switch in to stop like the U-turns and stuff like that. And I also have Rough Skin Garchomp, so I think I can punish U-turns very well. And some U-turns, like Celebi, can be easy to live. So I'm not super worried about Celebi's grass weakness there, or bug weakness there. I do think it supports the team really well, and I think that's going to be absolutely huge. So the next one we got is Passimian. I mean, great Scarfer, can be run banded. Pretty good bulk for a fighting type. Not much to say about this. I think it rounds out speed tiers really nicely, giving me a base 80, gives me a good Scarfer, and I think Passimian is just a great mon. Like, there's a lot of sets, and I've used it a little bit in UGL, but not enough. So I was really excited to scoop it here. All right, next Mon, we got Aegislash. Now this is a Mon I have wanted to use since I started Draft. In Gen 7, it was mostly banned from like the leagues that I saw. Like it was really, really good. And then Gen 8, it got nerfed a little bit. Like King Shield got nerfed. It lost 10 points in both of its defenses, which also in Blade form translate to its offenses. But it can still be run physically. It can be run special. I think it got access to close combat in Gen 8. So the fact that it has access to close combat, its stabs hit really hard. It also has like the SD Shadow Sneak possibilities. It also has like the Weakness Policy Autonomized sets. There are tons of Aegislash sets. I am very excited to use this Mon. It's just so good. And looking at my team, like right now, this is my only ground weakness. Like obviously you have potential like Mold Breaker Earthquakes that are going to be hitting Rotom, but like this is my only ground weakness so far. So I think like it's really, really nice that that's the case. And I wanted a Steel type that resisted Ice and Fairy. There are a couple of different Steel types I was looking at. I thought about maybe Duraludon. I thought about maybe Bisharp, but I think the biggest thing about those was that they just didn't resist Fairy. And then I also thought about one of the Steel Flyings, like Skarm or like Celesteela, but those didn't resist Ice. And like with Azumarill and Rotom being my Ice resists, but then Moltres being neutral, and then I obviously have Celebi and Garchomp that are weak to Ice. I wanted to make sure that my Steel type resisted Ice for sure. So really excited about that. Yeah, Aegislash is gonna be so much fun to use. I'm really excited. The next Mon that I drafted was something, and that was a tier 1 Aegislash. So like that I don't think I mentioned before, like tier 3 Celebi, so I thought that was incredible value. Tier 4 Passimian, I thought that kind of made sense, although I think Passimian is probably a mid to low tier 3. And then I would say tier 1 Aegislash. There's no way that would not be in tier 1. So the next pick is a Mon that was also in tier 3, and I'm baffled that it was in tier 3, but it's Alakazam. Yeah, Alakazam, I mean, I needed speed. That was the first thing. I was looking at things like Crobat. I looked at Gengar and didn't think it was fast enough. Obviously only being 110, but that was also tier 3, so I considered that. But Alakazam, I'm throwing it back to the OG Gen 1 Mon here, and I'm really excited to use this. I mean, Magic Guard's a great ability. It also has Trace, which can be... Does it have Trace? No, that's Megazam. Never mind. Doesn't have Trace. I think it's Synchronize and Inner Focus. Yeah, anyway, not Trace. Don't mind me. But yeah, so Magic Guard, incredible ability. Not being able to take damage to like toxic burn hazards, like Alakazam is amazing. It's an absolute great Mon. Getting access to Nasty Plot, very big for it. Having the ability to click Nasty Plot is going to be huge. And yeah, I mean, this was a Mon that I thought, like, I don't particularly love the synergies with some of the Mons, but Alakazam's just a great Mon. And it's incredibly fast, and the value in tier 3 was just too much to pass up. So I don't think you can blame me there. And it just gets crazy coverage. Like, it's a Gen 1 Mon, and everybody knows Gen 1 Mons just got absolutely insane coverage. But yeah, so I'm excited to use Alakazam. I think Alakazam's gonna be a great addition, and it gives me another like dedicated special like breaker. I think a lot of the Mons that I have right now on the team can be sort of like, I mean, Moltres can be run physically specially. Rotom's not really a breaker. It does get Nasty Plot now, so that's nice. Celebi can be run physically, especially. It's also more of a defensive mon. I mean, that same can be said with Moltres and Rotom, like they can be run defensively as well. Aegislash can be run physically special. I like the fact that Alakazam is like a dedicated special breaker and can really also kind of clean up games at the end as well. So the next mon we got, looking at the team, I was really worried about my, specifically my matchup against like some of the ghost types. So I wanted to make sure I got a dark type that could take hits and also kind of punish some of the other ghost types. And looking at the team, I thought this would be a great fit for one of like the poison dark types. And so I ended up going with Scum Tank. The reason I went with Scum Tank was because it also gives defog, and I didn't necessarily feel like I needed toxic spikes. A lot of times this team, I think, is just going to want to have some chip with rocks. I don't think I need to be toxicing things per se. So yeah, I think Scum Tank is really nice here. It now gets access to things like corrosive gas, so even though it doesn't have knockoff, it can still take items away. Having defog is really nice. Having the ability to run physically or specially is pretty nice. Yeah, I think it's just going to be good utility, and I think it'll be able to check some of the ghost types that I would really have problems with. And the fact that my fairy resists are Moltres and Aegislash, I thought I could go with a poison type that doesn't resist. I did consider Garbodor. I don't remember what happened. I think, did I get sniped of something? Maybe I did get sniped. Maybe Scizor wasn't the only snipe. I don't remember. Anyway, this is a tier 4 Scum Tank. I thought it was really good. And oh yes, I did get sniped. Originally I was going to go Vullaby. Originally Vullaby was on the plan, and it's going to be Vullaby and Garbodor, because I did think I wanted T-Spikes, and specifically I wanted Spikes support, but that ended up not working out. No big deal. I got Scum Tank instead. I like the base 84 speed stat. It gives me some flexibility there. And yeah, so let's move on to the next mon. The next mon, oh, well, that, flip that around. Okay, well, here's what I'll do. I will talk about the next mon, which was Paraseed. You saw Baby Hippo, but yeah, Paraseed. Paraseed is a great hazard setter, very good low tier. It was in tier 5. I figured I had to scoop it up. It's another fairy resist, which is really nice. And I think having Paraseed, having yet another deterrent of U-turn, like with Iron Barbs and stuff, I thought that'd be really good. It hits really hard too. Like, it has, I think, base 10 speed, so Gyro Ball's hitting incredibly hard from Paraseed. It can be bulky. It is sort of a hard mon to deal with. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited. Pretty excited to use Paraseed. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I had fun with Ferrothorn in ISL Season 2 when I had it. So I'm hoping I like Paraseed. Now we go to the next mon, which is Baby Hippopotas. So this was something that I was kind of juggling and not sure what I wanted. It was my last tier 5, and I haven't drafted a tier 2 yet. So my original plan was to grab Sneasel in tier 5, and then grab Alolan Ninetales in tier 2. I thought screen support could be really good for this, like Aurora Veil support could be really good for this team, whatever. However, when I started talking about it, and it was my pick, I brought up the fact that I tried to pick Sneasel, and it wasn't on the dock, so I assumed that it was tier 5. Apparently, someone else had already asked about it, and tier 5 Sneasel was then like kind of removed from the draft pool because it wasn't on the dock. So it's apparently going to be available in free agency, but kind of like the way my team, or I really like the way my team came out without Sneasel and Alolan Ninetales. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to deal with it. Somebody else can have Sneasel. I'm not going to pick it up. And instead, I'm going to go with Baby Hippo. So Baby Hippo is a mon that I've seen JCK, shout out to the homie JCK, use incredibly well. And while I wasn't really, like, I feel like it's getting a lot of hype as a sand setter. And while I wasn't really buying the hype, I think it does have some value, especially because, like, looking at my team, like, looking at the 10 mons I have, I didn't really think I needed anything else. Like, I'm looking at the mons, and yeah, I don't have, like, a normal type. I have good amount of hazards. I have my hazard control is good. Like, I have rockers. I have hazard removal. Like, in general, I really like this team. But I had 2 more picks, and one of them was a tier 2 slot. So, like, I'd considered trying to take, like, a mascot pick and going with Porygon Z, because as you can see in the top left corner, I did switch my team name and logo for this league, and shout out to my boy Viz for the commission on the new logo. This logo is absolutely fire. So check him out if you need a logo, or reach out to me and I can get you guys synced up. But yeah, so anyway, I digress. But Baby Hippo was definitely something that I was like, okay, I can give this a shot, because there's a mon in tier 2 that is not drafted that I think is an absolute demon, especially in Galar decks, and I really wanted to try it out. So Baby Hippo into the last mon, which is Dracozole. So yes, I did get technically round 13 Dracozole. I'll go over what my round, I think 11 pick was, because I took Baby Hippo in round 12. My round 11 pick was my locked pick, and I'll go over that in a minute. But yeah, so I got Dracozole in the last round of this draft. Dracozole is so damn good. Every time I've run into it in draft, it's done incredibly well against me. It's really, really annoying. I'm very happy that I have it and I don't have to deal with it. There's a couple of other, I think T-Tar was drafted. I also think Gigalith was drafted. And I think they're both in my division. So that's going to be really interesting. They're going to have to think twice about potentially bringing Sand. And the other thing is, I think the premier Sand Sweeper in Excadrill wasn't even drafted in our division. It was drafted in the Premier League. So that's the thing. Like, looking at this draft the whole time, I was also keeping in mind, like, what things are in the Premier League, what things are in the Master League, because, like, I mean, Melmetal, Lando T, Excadrill, Rillaboom, Dragapult, Scizor, like, all of these things got drafted in the Premier League, which means I don't have to deal with them in the Master League, so we chillin'. But yeah, so this is the squad. Please leave some comments, let me know what you think. But before I wrap up, I do want to get to the locked pick. So this is the last, this is the final team. And then my locked pick, which if I make playoffs, I'm hoping that I do, I actually took Vikavolt. So Vikavolt's a mon, obviously people know I'm very comfortable with. I've had it in a couple of different leagues. I think I had it in TBA Season 2. I have it in UGL Season 2 right now. I also have it in ISL Season 5 right now. And Vikavolt was the mon I was looking, and I was just like, this might be the best mon sort of available. And this was right after I found out that I couldn't take Sneasel. But tier 4 Vikavolt is really good. It allows me to swap out something in tier 4, and I have a couple of tier 4s that might not necessarily be good for playoff matchups. So having the ability to have webs, especially with this team, like webs being able to help Garchomp, being able to help Alakazam, or with like Scarfers and stuff like that, being able to help Aegislash outspeed some things if I'm running a fast Aegislash. Also Passimian, like all of these mons like really appreciate webs to be able to outspeed things. So having Vikavolt sort of as a trump card in my back pocket. Also Dracozolt. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Especially if I'm not bringing sand. But yeah, having webs in my back pocket for playoffs potentially, I thought was just an incredible idea. And my team also doesn't love dealing with Vikavolt. Just looking at it, so I thought like this could be a good pick. And yeah, I mean, having Vikavolt is like, that's a luxury I'm glad I have. I did consider taking something like Starmie or Crobat, or like just some of the faster mons off the board, but it's all good. I love my team. I know people are going to look at this and be like, wow, this is really nutty. Yeah, don't get me wrong, there are definitely other very, very good teams, very scary teams. I know Eli's team is incredibly scary. Sally Mumble's team is incredibly scary. The owner of the league, Watermelon, his team is very scary. There's also like a crazy Psy-Spam team with Lele Metagross. Shout out to the old VGC 2017 core. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good one. So yeah, this league's gonna be a lot of fun. It's a 9 weeks and then a couple weeks for playoffs. So I will be posting all of my games. I need to figure out a posting schedule, but the league starts about a week after this is going up, I believe. So yeah, anyway, really excited about this, and I think I'm gonna wrap this up here. So please, if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications. I do post pretty regularly Pokemon content, and I'm starting to sort of branch out into other ideas. So yeah, and leave me some comments. I will get back to them. All right, everybody, I'm out of here. Peace.